Look up that corner. I swear to God. Look at this. Dan O'Neill owns that. His son had told me at one point that after they built Walker and Buffalo, that they were billed on A and Lakefield.
Brandon doesn't even use this thing, does he?
You got house.
Why wouldn't you use it?
Well, I think it's great because I live out there.
All righty. Welcome to the November 26th City of North Platte Planning Commission meeting. Welcome all. We're going to open with a roll call.
Davies. McCune.
Here.
Matthews. Here. Bain.
Here.
Fudge.
Present.
Jett.
Here.
Forbes.
Here.
Worrell.
Here.
And Van Velsen.
What?
Quorum is present.
Oy, oy, oy. Current copy of the Open Meetings Act of the State of Nebraska is posted on the back of the council chamber wall right there. If you need to refer to it at any time, please help yourself. Item number 2 on the agenda tonight is approval of minutes from the meeting held October 22nd, 2024. I do dearly apologize for missing such meeting. Everybody had a chance to read this, I'm sure, intently. Gonna make me beg?
Move, we approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion by Whirl. Did you get it or, okay.
Whatever.
Seconded by McEwen to approve as presented. Any discussion? Not? Michelle, please. Oh, that looks different.
I know, that's what, this looks different here too.
We're gonna hope it works.
Does it work?
Maybe I need to use this.
Mhm.
I guess
Chris?
I have to get Kevin. Because I just looked at this.
I think you were getting the wrong people ready for the meeting.
I think I was getting the wrong people. Hey, look at there. Oh.
Now it's
Now we got to
Go.
push it again.
Beat you.
I've pushed it 3 times. I promise I pushed it 3
On your
times.
clicker.
He must have you on the wrong clicker.
Well,
then.
that's what we changed last week.
Judy, do you have a clicker?
That's what we changed.
I have the
Oop, here's the clicker. Try this one.
Try that.
Yeah.
Aha!
There.
Call, I will get him.
All right. Hey, look at that. After a prolonged voting process, the minutes are approved. Item number 3, file number SU 24-023, discussion, consider action on application by Tad Hannibal for preliminary and final approval of D&N Event Center second replat located at 302 and 304 West Eugene Avenue on property described as Lot 3, D&N Event Center replat, North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska. Judy.
Okay, and you should have all received a copy of the review comments. Attached to that is a preliminary and final plat for DNN Event Center second replat. The subdivision will split one lot into 2 lots in a B2 highway commercial district. Public utilities are available to service the lots. Planning staff has no objection to the proposed subdivision. The property is located in a commercial district, and Lot 2 has direct access to Eugene Avenue with the lot configuration. And also there is an access easement via the 20-foot access easement to the east of the property that you can see on that final plat. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any. It does not look like the applicant's in the audience.
This the dirt straight north of D&M.
It should be East Eugene.
Yes, it is on Eugene. It's where the old DNN Event Center used to be, where Seavers
I'm sorry,
Auto
no.
Care is.
It would be on West Eugene then.
Yeah. So it's very deceiving because it says DNN Event Center, but that was the name of the original plat. And it was the original DNN Event Center, which is over by Seavers Auto Care. So
Eugene
believe
and
me,
Willow.
it confused
Yes.
everybody.
Eugene and Willow.
across
Yes.
from Hobby Lobby.
Yes. Yes.
So this is, back in the day, there used to be a lumber store over there, and then that became the first D&N Event Center, which is, I think, why it's named that.
Yes. But yes, it was very deceiving to everybody that
Please note in the minutes that a member of the media caused severe confusion. I couldn't resist. I do apologize.
no, don't feel that it messed everybody up.
Any questions on this for Judy? Not, there's a proposed motion there.
I move to make a recommendation to approve file number SU 24-023, preliminary and final approval of DNN Event Center second replat.
Second.
Motion by Matthews, seconded by Bain to recommend approval. Any discussion on that motion? Not, Michelle, please. Well, oh,
Here we go.
And I can't figure out how to get rid of Davey, so.
that's all right. He's just gonna live up, we're gonna harass him all night for, there you go.
Caleb Steen.
And the motion is approved. I assume that one goes on to council.
Yes, sorry, that one will go on to the city council agenda for December 3rd.
Okey doke. Item number 4, public hearing discussion, consider action on a resolution regarding the city of North Platte amended redevelopment plan for phase 3 of Lakeview Apartments development pursuant to redevelopment law on property described as lots 1, 2, and 3, Lakeview First Administrative Subdivision, North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, and lot 1 and 2, block 1, and lots 3 and 4, block 2, Lakeview First Subdivision, North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska. Judy.
So you should have all received a copy of the review comments. Attached to that is the resolution, and then attached to that is a copy of the redevelopment plan. The City Planning Commission's responsibility in the redevelopment process is to take public comment on whether the real estate described is in conformance with the City of North Platte Comprehensive Plan, and if the project meets or will meet subdivision and zoning regulations and is an overall fit for development of the city. The following statements should be considered and confirmed. The property as presented is located in an area that has been blighted and substandard. The property is in conformance with the current City of North Platte Comprehensive Plan, and the project meets or will meet subdivision and zoning regulations. The development of the property to its full potential is in the best interest of the City of North Platte and entire region. The principal purpose of a comprehensive plan is to provide basic policies to guide the many activities of the city. It is used to help determine investment priorities and guide public and private development. At the same time, a comprehensive plan must be flexible in order to address changing conditions and respond to new situations that cannot be foreseen at the time of adoption. One goal of the current city comprehensive plan is to create sufficient housing stock to provide safe choices and options for types of units and by cost. Sufficient housing stock and options is obtained by redeveloping underutilized land with a mix of land uses that encourage new housing options, neighborhood services, and a variety of transportation options, such as sidewalks, paths, trails, and roads, reducing the number of substandard housing units in the community, creating alternative housing options such as senior housing or low to moderate income housing, providing incentives such as density bonuses for redevelopment areas and substandard housing stock into affordable, safe housing, including housing programs that encourage construction of multifamily rental units, affirm and support fair housing practices in North Platte, and prepare for future growth by extending city infrastructure in areas to areas targeted for development. As presented in the redevelopment plan, the project will create 5 apartment buildings with 8 apartments in each building. Each building will cover approximately 8,500 square feet. The project is intended to provide workforce housing as defined in Section 18-210432 of the Act. The plan is intended to comply with any workforce housing incentive plan approved by the City of North Platte City Council. The proposed apartments are designed to be attractive to new residents considering relocation to the City of North Platte and specifically designed to meet the needs of today's working families. The proposed redevelopment area is currently zoned as a B1 neighborhood commercial district and will need to be rezoned to R3 to allow for multifamily residential construction. Additionally, the lots will need to be consolidated through a subdivision process. Planning staff recommends approval of the City of North Platte amended redevelopment plan for Phase 3 of the Lakeview Apartments development and passage of the attached resolution. The redevelopment plan will be in conformance with the North Platte, Nebraska Comprehensive Plan and will meet current City of North Platte subdivision and zoning regulations once the rezoning and subdivision have been completed. The property is located in an area that has been declared blighted and substandard. The area is appropriate for residential development. The area is surrounded by a mix of single-family duplex and multifamily dwellings. The proposed residential development is in a location that is a good fit for the area and for growth and development of the City of North Platte.
Alrighty, this is a public hearing. My script is gone, so I'm going to try and wing this. We would welcome your public input. Please keep your testimony as brief as possible. Excessive and repetitive testimony can be ended at the discretion of the chair, which is me. Is that about right? Perfect. Would you like to talk on this one? Mr. Bacon? We'd love to hear from you this evening.
Sure you would. My name is Mike Bacon, counsel for the Community Redevelopment Authority. I prepared the redevelopment plan. I humbly apologize for the auga going off, but if you think it was bad for you, it was in my hearing aids and it's very loud. This plan, but I must say, Judy covered it quite well. This is a consolidation of we weren't really going to have housing in this area, and the site is essentially oversold in terms of apartments, waiting lists, and that sort of thing. So local resources were gathered to basically fill it up. I think we still would have a small commercial area left for neighborhood development, but the redeveloper recognizes that they'll have to do subdivision and zoning application change. So I have nothing else to add to that, but it's a great project. The two projects in front of you tonight will add more than 80 badly needed apartments to your community, so that's pretty cool. So
I had a question on workforce housing.
yes, sir.
Is called workforce housing. Is there any rent limitations or rent requirements or anything that it has to be rented for rather than
so
market price?
It got two pieces. One, it has a cost limitation in terms of construction, which has to be under $235 a door presently, and we made sure that that's the case. And secondly, they have to promote, and that'll be an element of the redevelopment contract, promote it to either existing workers or to new workers in town. There's no rent restriction.
Okay.
So I think that whole site really supports hospital staff that's looking for a nice place to live. So, yeah. Good question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Bacon before he turns around and goes sits down again and listens for his phone?
I guess just speak to moving it from commercial to housing. Is it simply just looking at what the market needs, or?
So they originally weren't thinking that there would be this much demand for housing, and sustainable beef has really driven it. So it was, we have infrastructure in place, we have the pool area and the central location for gatherings and so forth. So it just basically the local demand driven. So we don't lose that much commercial space. And no, frankly, they have not been able to attract anybody to develop the commercial space since they started. So
Okay, and so they themselves, as those developers, are looking at developing that as commercial space themselves, or are they looking at like another
they're
entity
looking
to do
at,
that?
either way.
Yeah.
Find someone that would move in. You know, is it appropriate for a convenience store or daycare center, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
They just haven't had any takers at this point. So, good question. Yeah.
Do you have any sense of what that setback looks like off A Street on those buildings? Or Judy, do you know the answer to that?
I thought there was an attachment, but
Look and see if they have it on here.
I may have just missed it.
I didn't think there was.
I know the minimum it would have to be would be 25 feet would be the minimum, but I'm
From
not
the
sure how
sidewalk
they-
or the street?
it
property
doesn't have-
line.
Okay.
So, right on the other side of the sidewalk.
Depends on where the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you measure setbacks based off
Property
property
line.
line. Yeah, and I can't see where it's dimensioned in here.
I didn't see it either.
No, I don't have a informed engineer's drawing for it
Okay.
at this point. So.
But when we permit that, it would have to be 25 feet from property line. So even if this is a little bit too close in here, they could always push it north a little ways.
Certainly, the engineers would have examined that to make sure it would fit in there.
You would hope.
I think the city engineer's been doing the drawing for it,
Yep.
so.
Yep.
I'm sure it will fit.
Any other questions of Mr. Bacon?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anybody else like to discuss this one? Part of the public hearing? Going once, going twice.
Make the motion, we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Bain, seconded by Jet to close the public hearing. Any discussion on that motion? Not. Let's see if we can get the fancy voting machine thingy to work. I think we're going to use that as the technical term. And the public hearing is now closed. Okay, we'll talk about this one up here. So I was sort of hoping we'd see some commercial development out there, but if they're not getting anywhere with it,
Right.
I understand it.
But then at the same time, is it, you know, in our best interest as a community to hold it as commercial, or is it,
I've never seen it advertised, frankly.
right? Like,
Just saying, I don't know how you can say you're working on it when it's not being advertised. So,
There's a sign on the corner.
on the corner, not this particular lot.
I bet every commercial developer in Nebraska is going by that sign every day.
Yep, they're all driving by that sign.
Well, unless I miss my guess, this is Dial, correct? I mean,
They have contacts.
they have contacts, so
They've got people.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
That was my assumption, was everybody got a notice
right,
by email or whatever,
what it,
more than Facebook.
right.
I would imagine they want to see the subdivision filled in pretty good before a commercial developer is going to go in and spend multi-millions
Oh,
on
it's
a.
already filled in pretty good. out
I
there.
know, but more.
it's-
They probably have
Yeah,
a
it's in my
minimum.
backyard.
Well, I would,
I know, but I'm saying.
The two corners are being retained as commercial.
Yes.
So
because
they're
those are
still-
zone B1 as well,
Yes.
correct? Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
and they're gonna stay that way in hopes of.
To my knowledge, as of right now, yes.
They just taken some more for apartments.
Yes.
With this additional apartments and potential for students, what's the capacity of the grade school out there?
From the last time, and it's been a long time that we've talked to the school, but from the last time, that is the school that has a large capacity for kids.
I'd also throw in, I think and Mike can correct me if I'm wrong here, I think the plan itself also kind of assumes that this will attract a lot of maybe more single individuals as opposed to families, so that there wouldn't be a large student population, at least what's anticipated as part of the development.
When we first started working on the project for sustainable beef, there was north of 1,000 empty desks. And
That's system-wide, correct?
system-wide,
Yeah.
yeah. And that doesn't take into account the Catholic school. The other thing, if you take a look at your demographics, it's 2.23 persons per household. And if you have a standard family there, your 40 units might get you 6 or 8, 10 kids. And we don't always have the standard family units. We have single parents and some have more than 0.23 kids, but it's not going to have a debilitating effect at all on the school system, so.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
I mean, it's still a pretty good piece of land that would be left for commercial.
Correct.
I think what they're telling us is the market's determined this is probably the best use of this land for
Yeah.
right now.
The only other thing I'd add is I think we need to be mindful as this kind of continues to increase is that there's some green space in there as well. That would be my only other comment.
Yeah, that's what the no build says, right? Gonna be green space?
No, that's commercial.
That's commercial.
That's commercial.
I said that tongue in cheek. Yeah, I saw that, but It would be nice.
Is that all green space there?
This is a general plan, there's quite a bit of green space in it.
Yeah,
Just right
typically,
here.
typically your
notice-
setbacks are generally
Yeah,
your
I'm
green
saying
space, lawns, that
between
sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I know you probably can't see a lot of green space out there right now because it's dirt.
Just, I said
Yeah,
as
it's
it
gonna feel.
develops further.
Yeah.
We just have to be mindful of that. Yep. All the people that are gonna congregate in there.
Oh yeah, so and that will exit onto another road to the east there on, or no, their parking lot will end.
Pioneer Drive.
Their
Sorry,
access would be
Pioneer Drive would be
West.
west, so their only access is there on Pioneer for now, or will there be a?
Or will there be a
Will that
street on
housing
the-
development connect to this?
Um,
Because the housing development's on the other side of this.
Where's the exit for the
I'm
Eisenhower's
trying to-
cool too? What's the other like drop off
it's,
pickup?
it's over to the east a little further.
It's further east for
Yeah.
Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think a road is gonna directly connect to there from that other development.
So there's the one in
Yes.
and out.
What about on the north?
It's just Pioneer Drive.
Well,
I mean, it's always possible in the future that they could connect that with that.
Are you
other
talking up
development,
here,
but they're
Jeff?
not.
there's a road here that dumps onto Lakeview.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the two
Yes.
developments, but on the
Yes.
very north.
No,
No.
right in the middle of the two developments here.
Okay, yeah. I
Well, there's
see that.
two outs on Lakeview.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see the very north, they just notch out, so
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what the space is between that and the next Second Street.
Yeah,
It's
there-
not those
it's
other
not there.
apartments.
It's those other apartment buildings.
Yep.
Is there still a creek there or?
There's the canal thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Greenway
Yeah.
overflow.
Okay, well, a reminder, we're required to see if this meets 4 tests. The property presented is located in an area that's been declared blighted and substandard. Property is in conformance with the current City of North Platte Comprehensive Plan. The project meets or will meet subdivision or zoning regulations, and that the development of this property is in full, to its full potential is in the best interest of the City of North Platte and the entire region. So those are the tests that you have to get over in your mind one way or the other on this. Any more discussion on this one? No. Would somebody care to make the motion on the back?
I can do that. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the resolution recommending approval of the City of North Platte amended redevelopment plan for Phase 3 of Lakeview Apartments Development Plan and approval of related actions.
Second.
Motion by Van Velsen, seconded by Bain to make a motion to approve the redevelopment plan. Any more discussion on this one?
Sorry, that was me. It's my
We
purse.
have all sorts of things happening up here tonight. We do apologize. If not, Michelle. We seem to have found the groove with the machine. And this is approved.
Okay, this will actually go to the CRA, which is scheduled, Community Redevelopment Authority, which is scheduled for 9 a.m. on December 3rd. And then barring any issues there, it will go on to the city council agenda that same evening at 5:30.
All righty. Item number 5 is another public hearing, discuss and consider action on a resolution regarding the City of North Platte's redevelopment plan for NP Rentals LLC apartment project pursuant to redevelopment law on property described as lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, NP subdivision, North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska. Judy.
Okay, and again, you should have all received a copy of the review comments. Attached to that is a resolution, and then attached to that resolution is a copy of the redevelopment plan. Again, city council, or excuse me, city planning commission's responsibility in the redevelopment process is to take public comment on whether the real estate described is in conformance with the City of North Platte Comprehensive Plan, and if the project meets or will meet subdivision and zoning regulation, and is an overall fit for the development of the city. The following statement should be considered and confirmed. The property as presented is located in an area that has been declared blighted and substandard. The property is in conformance with the current City of North Platte Comprehensive Plan. The project meets or will meet subdivision and zoning regulations. The development of this property to its full potential is in the best interest of the City of North Platte and the entire region. The principal purpose of a comprehensive plan is to provide basic policies to guide the many activities of the city. It is used to help and determine investment priorities and guide public and private development. At the same time, a comprehensive plan must be flexible in order to address changing conditions and respond to the new situations that cannot be foreseen at the time of its adoption. One goal of the current city comprehensive plan is to create sufficient housing stock to provide safe choices and options for types of units and by cost. Sufficient housing stock and options is obtained by redeveloping underutilized land with a mix of land uses that encourage new housing options, neighborhood services, and a variety of transportation options, sidewalks, paths, trails, and roads, reducing the number of substandard housing units in the community, creating alternative housing options such as senior housing or low to moderate income housing, providing incentives such as density bonuses for redevelopment of areas with substandard housing stock to affordable, safe housing, including housing programs that encourage construction of multifamily residential or rental units, affirm and support fair housing practices in North Platte, and prepare for future growth by extending city infrastructure in areas targeted for development. As presented in this redevelopment plan, the project will provide a 42-unit apartment multifamily housing development consisting of 6 buildings with 7 units per building. Each of the 6 apartment buildings will have a lot coverage of approximately 9,870 square feet. The proposed apartments are designed to be attractive to new residents considering relocation to the city of North Platte and specifically designed to meet needs of today's working families. Planning staff recommends approval of the City of North Platte redevelopment plan for NP Rentals LLC apartment project and passage of the attached resolution. The redevelopment plan is in conformance with the North Platte, Nebraska Comprehensive Plan 2011 and meets current City of North Platte subdivision and zoning regulations. The property is located in an area that has been declared blighted and substandard. This area is appropriate for residential development. The area is surrounded by single-family owner-occupied and single-family rental units. The proposed residential development in this location is a good fit for the area and future growth and development of the city of North Platte. The applicant is in the audience if you have any questions, and I'd be happy to answer some also.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Same rules apply. So I'm not going to we're trying to remember them all again, so we'll just say they all still apply. So with that, the public hearing is open. Would anybody like to come talk on this one? Name and address, please.
Josh Rhodes, 830 Bronze Road, Grand Island, Nebraska. We're proposing to put a 42-unit project up there. It'll all be single-family units. There'll be 6 buildings, 7 units per building. They'll all be 1 story. It'll be a slab-on-grade development, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Each apartment has about 1,122 square feet. It has a single car, basically a 12 by 24 single car garage that's attached to them. We got a similar build that we've done in Grand Island a couple times now. And we use the same concept, and it seems to work really well with them. So.
Any questions?
Sorry,
Yep.
that was fast.
Sorry.
Okay, so sorry. So you're saying they're all single story,
Yes.
and then they'll have garage for every family that
Yep.
has one?
Each one has a garage
Has a
attached to it.
Okay, so then you're just shared walls after shared walls, like
Yes.
kind of
Yep.
like a row.
So the
style thing?
garage has a double wall, one for fire and 2 for sound, and then your separation, so you don't have a lot of noise transfer either.
Okay.
And that goes on the side of the garage, and there's basically a wall, fire rock insulation, airspace, fire rock, wall insulation again. And then your next unit starts, and you'll have that garage in the same repeat over again.
Okay.
So.
So yes, it is like row house, if you're thinking about it, looking at it. You know, I think apartment, I think stories.
Right.
But
Yeah. So I
this
was.
would be
Yeah.
row housing or
Yeah.
like
Attached.
townhome type
Townhomes.
housing.
Mhm.
Yep,
Okay.
We looked at a project like this over in Lexington.
I believe so.
Yeah, they're pretty cool looking by the time you get through them. So
Can you speak to what's really worked with them in Grand Island?
As far as what do you mean?
I mean, residents enjoy living there, or they've just been a really positive, popular.
We don't have a very high turnover rate, so I mean, and I don't get a lot of negative feedback. So I would say overall, due to those factors, I would say they enjoy living there. A lot of younger working families like to be close to a school. You know, that's always a bonus, especially I don't know exactly who's gonna lease them, but like if you bring in people for sustainable beef to lease, they really like being close to school because a lot of those kids will walk.
And that's part of the trick with that neighborhood. That is actually a preschool building there in Buffalo,
Yeah.
at Buffalo. So kids will have a long way to go to get to our
Yeah, some of
kindergarten
them
through
will-
fifth.
Like that, or they carpool together. I mean,
Yeah.
you see different scenarios there. So,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know. You never know exactly who's leasing them at first. So
And you'll,
sometimes we get older people too that have sold their places that don't want to maintain nothing anymore. So they come in and lease them. So that way they don't have to worry about anything maintaining, or they're only here part of the year anymore. And
Yeah.
they go to like Texas or Arizona, Florida. We have a lot of that in Grand Island too, out of these same units. So
and the
I haven't
plan,
done anything in North Platte, so I can't exactly tell you exactly what kind of people are leasing them. So, but that's been my experience there.
and you'll build and manage them out then too?
Yep,
Or-
yep. We're gonna build them. We're gonna lease them. We're gonna end up. We'll own them.
Yeah.
Everything when they're done. So, yep.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. You may have said this. Are they 2-story or are they one? They're all one
All
story.
one story.
Okay. Thank you.
Slab on grade.
Yep. Slab on grade, 1 story.
Yeah. Well, they could still be 2-story even if they're.
No, it could, yeah, but you said one story.
Yep.
I missed it. Thanks.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of confusion on that because I've had some neighbors ask me that too. Well, we were told they were 2-story and this and that, but no, everything's 1 story on them. So,
Because I've seen both in that row housing type thing.
yep, yep. Yeah, you,
Sometimes the ends will be 1-story and
Yep.
then the middles will be 2.
yeah, you can get a multitude of things in those. So, yep,
Thank you.
yep.
And you're planning on doing all 42?
At one shot.
And then
Yep.
once it gets
Yep.
all approved, you're gonna just start building.
Start
one
dirt
row,
works.
And then the next row, and then the next row.
Yep, once they get the dirt work up, then we'll start infrastructure and then we'll start paving behind that. So that way we can eliminate our track out and then they'll start foundations and then framing and on down the line. So, yep.
I still can't visualize the drawing. I see the road, and then I see it looks like it goes up and it goes in. Is that a driveway on the drawing?
You wanna come?
Yeah, you're gonna come here. Is that a driveway? Are those driveways?
Yes, yep. So this driveway will come in and then it'll end. So there'll be 3 drives that come off of
Gotcha.
this 18th Street here.
I mean, for the house, what's this?
Yep, and then this is the driveway. So this is the street coming in. So
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're gonna bring a private street in. These
Yeah.
aren't gonna be public. The private street's 30 foot wide. And then these are double car driveways. So you can park 2 cars to each one too. Besides have parking on each side of the private
And then,
road.
so the garage is part of that building?
Yep, yep. So from here to here is 1 unit. And that garage is attached to each unit.
Yeah. Where's the driveway for that unit? That's my
Right
ultimate
here, right in
question.
front of it. So it comes, so it's where the stub out is right here.
Yeah.
And the stub out is into the driveway, and that driveway goes straight out, and then it comes over another 12 feet
Oh.
off the side of the garage and connects to this private road.
I see. So that's the drive. There's 2 driveways adjacent there. That's not is that?
Yeah, it's a double driveway, so that way you can park 2 vehicles in front of each unit.
So it's all concrete on the front side?
Nope, this little patch in between, these are all grass, green spaces for each place too.
These are the green space.
Yep, in between.
Oh,
yep.
I'm confused. Okay.
Yeah, where you see this little notch out, that's the driveway, and then in between those, green space,
Okay.
green space, yep. And then behind them, I mean, obviously the rest of what you see
Yeah,
will be green space.
The rest is set back as green space. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
So we're looking at private streets where you're gonna maintain the streets.
Yes, once you come off 18th, we'll maintain them, we'll push the snow on them. Yep, yep.
So I couldn't see kind of how you were doing that over there. So where it says 24 feet between, I don't know, diagrams, that's the green space?
Oh, that's the driveway.
That's the
It's the
drive.
driveway.
Yep.
Yep, the 24 feet TYP
Yeah,
is the driveway.
behind them is green space.
Yep.
Okay.
Doesn't appear to be.
And then right next
This
to
is
that
the
line,
driveway.
This is the.
we'll start your green space on each
This little
one.
notch out is
This
the
is
one car garage.
building. That's the
This is
drive.
the
Are these
lawn.
streets gonna be named?
Green space.
No, they're just all
It'll be,
private
this will be a
drive.
front yard,
Private
this will be
drive?
front yard, front
Yep.
yard, front
So
yard.
what would
So-
the physical
Driveway,
addresses be?
driveway.
Each one goes to 18th
Driveway.
Street. There's
Okay.
like 23,
The little bump
21,
out is
20,
the garage,
60.
and then they
Don't
all
quote me
just-
exactly.
Right.
But yeah, so each one will be,
And I
and then it'll be
Hey,
1,
let's-
2, 3,
patio.
4, 5, 6,
Let's
7.
cut the side chatter.
So, yep.
I got 2 conversations going on at once and so did you get your question answered?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay, what was your question?
Oh, I was just showing.
Okay, all right.
We're good, we're good.
But But 19th Street won't be developed through, right? Like that, the street that's
So
north
when they,
is
No.
not,
We
yeah.
had to give a right of way for that, so part of that would fall on our property. If it was
Okay.
ever futurely developed, and I'm assuming, I guess Judy can answer this.
Yeah, that's,
when he did the subdivision to subdivide those lots, we required that he gave us 33 feet of right of way on the north for future development of 19th Street. Abutting 19th Street is a large piece of ag property. When that gets subdivided, we will require them the same so that eventually we could possibly push 19th Street through.
do you
That's
like
our
to
hope.
build those without connecting to 19th Street? I mean, I'm not saying you do that now, but like, is that kind of part of the benefit of living there? Is it's a real quiet neighborhood?
I
Because
don't
no
like
one
them
drives-
connected to another
Yeah.
public street, because then you got traffic zooming through there,
Yeah.
and that creates hazards for kids and different things. Yeah, anywhere we've kind of been, we like that private, even though we have to maintain it and we have to replace concrete over time, that sort of thing, versus being a city expense. Because of that factor, it's just more private, there's less traffic, it's quieter,
Yeah.
so.
And
Well,
it's
that's
only
like
a 30-foot street, so you don't like a lot of traffic anyway.
Right. Yep. That's why I put the double parking in front of the units and eliminate the number of vehicles. And usually in our leases, we require you to just say if there's going to be 4 people occupying that unit and how many vehicles. That way, if there's more than that, we have rights to say, hey, you have X amount of days to have them moved or be gone. So otherwise, if you don't do things like that, people use their own discretion on what they want to do. So, and then you have no legal authority over it. So,
Right.
yeah. Yep.
Are you planning any kind of fencing between the backyards of the rows?
No. Nope.
Okay.
No, not unless we ever had an issue, but right now, the ones we haven't gone down, we haven't had any issues, so.
Okay.
I have seen some places that have done that though, but we haven't had an issue, so we don't do that.
They're just gonna leave that dotted line in there.
Yeah, oh.
Yeah,
That'll all be green space then, the in between.
in between them, yep, on the
Nice.
backs, yep,
Backyard against backyard.
Mm-hmm.
yep. It'd be a backyard green space, and then there's drainage, it carries the drainage too, through there.
Trash removal?
So each tenant gets their trash service and dumpster. Or no, not, I shouldn't say dumpster, you know, I'm assuming North Platte uses toters too.
So that you'll be on city trash. I think that's what you're asking.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
City trash using that road, and they'll have to bring them out to the curb.
yeah, however, they end up getting that set up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, right now, I know like right now the trash trucks, they come down our private drives and they pick up each toter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming they'll do the same thing here. They'll take them to the private road and the trash truck will come through and pick each one of them up, so.
So a question on the roads. So the roads, there's not an exit out onto 19th Street, obviously. Is there room to turn around or anything, or at the end of
You
the?
can turn around a 30-foot street, but usually your driveways, that's where people come in and out.
Okay.
Yep. You don't want to keep adding.
It's like a
more.
trash truck though.
Yeah.
How are they gonna get in?
They come in, dump, they back out.
Okay.
The more paving you put in there for people, the more people are in there messing around. So that's how you help eliminate some of that stuff.
That makes
So,
sense.
And you said, or I heard somebody say 1,122 square feet
yeah, per unit. Yep.
per unit.
Yep.
3 bedrooms, 2 baths in that.
Yep.
Sidewalks.
Yep. There's sidewalk. There end up being sidewalks down both sides of that private drive, and then
Okay.
the sidewalks also down 18th. I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see the sidewalk on 8th, perhaps on 18th Street, but I just don't see it on the private roads.
What? No, one of those. There should be a paving drawing attached somewhere. And you may or may not be. Let's see.
I don't see a paving. There will be sidewalks up and down each side of those private.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you can kind of see a double line on your site paving plan. It'd be sheet C, C7.
Oh, yeah. There is a-
The dark double line, that's pavement then?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to see as small as that sheet is, but yeah.
Okay.
Yep, there is.
It is there. I can see it. Thank my tutors, I can see it.
Yeah.
Go back to
Beside
your,
the print.
on the addresses, there was a question about addresses. I guess I didn't follow
18th
that.
Street.
Right, 18th, but how each
They'll
house
all
is that?
they'll all be addressed like whatever it is, 1801 West 18th, A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3. They'll be
Because
like
I was thinking
units.
for emergency vehicles, you
Yep,
gotta
Yep.
have some kind of address.
Right, that's why I asked about physical address.
Yeah.
yep.
We're
So
all
each
gonna
of the
have
each of
18th
the
Street address.
Yep, each of the 6 lots will have a different address, and then in those 6 lots, each of those units will be, I mean, usually we just kind of decide, you know, unit A, unit B, or unit 1, unit 2.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mail collection. Gonna have mailboxes,
Usually cluster boxes.
cluster boxes. Yeah.
Usually what the post office requires. That's usually a post office thing. They kind of tell us where they want the location of them, or that's been our experience. and
Okay.
then exactly what they want on their cluster box.
One per row or whatever.
Usually they want them all grouped in one location. So yeah, our clusters would be set up. They're usually 16 unit clusters, got a couple of parcel lockers, and then you'd have, in that case, probably 3 16s, I would guess, because
You have to jump through their hoops on that.
yeah, that's all kind of a postal deal. They have their own regulation. They set them up. They actually, once county addresses the properties, then the postal master, whoever takes that, and then they label the boxes out. We have to pay for the box installment. After that, they get all the keys. They label them. They do it from there. So we just got to buy the boxes and install them where they want them. So
And what's the purpose of the square at the rear of each lot? On this drawing, there's
And along 18th Street,
what's drawing you on?
the only diagram we have with the streets and lots and
You'd be talking about at the rear of the houses. There appears to be
those
just
squares.
Labeled C20.
Like it's
Patio.
103, 102? Is that what you're talking about?
No, that little square, that little square, that little square.
Oh, those are the back patio bump outs.
I
Those
thought so.
concrete patios.
Oh. Okay. Great. Little slice of heaven on earth.
What about trees? Usually plant trees, landscaping.
We
any
just
of
do
that stuff?
river rock and shrubs. We usually don't do a lot
Okay.
of trees unless they end up being required, because trees usually end up ruining sidewalks and driveways. And
No, they're beautiful.
And
They
they're
make
ma- and they're
neighborhoods
maintenance-
wonderful.
maintenance
No.
Shrubbery,
worth
shrubbery,
it.
don't ruin that.
you're
I mean,
not-
would you be, thinking creatively to
eventually,
get
or
some of those
at least
planted, or are you like, no, I wouldn't even want them in the development at all?
No, because out there, those roots end up pushing on your concrete, and then eventually the cities will send you notices about sidewalks and get
Oh,
them fixed.
man, you're hurting my heart.
So,
You can
Yeah.
run them down the middle between, well.
that's why we like shrubs. Those roots don't do that. They don't push concrete
Lots of shrubs.
Mm,
or go through sewer lines, or trees
Yeah.
go through sewer lines too. So,
Underground sprinklers.
yeah. I'm sure they go through everything. I haven't had that one yet, but yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to end on like 3 positives about trees at this meeting because
Oh my
this is
goodness.
terrible
Get the-
PR
get
for
the
trees.
Sawzall
What is the
Oxygen, they do
deal?
look good.
Yes,
Great in parks.
thank you. In parks
Yeah.
and in everyone's front yard.
all right. Any,
rakes do you own?
yeah,
How many? They all blow west into my neighbor's yard.
there you go.
That's
Or
what
All right.
east, yeah.
Any more questions for Mr. Rhodes? Thank you, sir. Mr. Bacon, did you have anything to add to this one? Okay. Anybody else? Going one, this public hearing, going once, going twice.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Bain, seconded by McEwen to close the public hearing. Any discussion on that motion? If not, Michelle. It's like a 3-step process now, just to vote. There you go. And the public hearing is now closed. All right, any discussion up here about that? Everybody clear on what the drawing components are and where the driveways are? And sorry, I was trying to pay attention over here and I couldn't hear over there. I'm an old guy and my hearing ain't good anymore.
What?
Exactly. Any more discussion? If not, I think there's a motion on the back of this thing.
I move to approve the resolution recommending approval of the City of North Platte redevelopment plan, North Platte Rentals LLC apartment project, and approval of related action.
Second.
Motion by Bain, seconded by Jet to approve. Any more discussion? Not. Fire up the voting machine. And the motion is approved.
Okay, and again, this will go to the Community Redevelopment Authority meeting scheduled for December 3rd at 9 a.m. And then again, barring any unforeseen circumstances, we'll go on to City Council at 5:30 on the same day.
Good luck. Thank you for your interest in our community.
Thank
For your
you.
investment.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Item number 6, discussion of crypto mining and data center regulations. Judy.
Okay, and this item is just for discussion. We're not making any solid decisions. That will come at a later date. So some of the things that have been floating around, we looked at solar at the last meeting. And so another new thing is crypto and data centers. So I came up with some regulations based off of looking at other communities and what they've done, some research, and this is kind of what I came up with. I don't know that the city attorneys even really had too much of a chance to look at it other than the amount of time that you guys have looked at it. So, but based off of what happened with solar and liking to use the conditional use with that, I did put some of these in permitted uses and some of them, most of it into conditional type uses. But we can do whatever you want with it. You can tell me you absolutely hate it. I can go back to the drawing board. We can take crypto out and just do data centers. We can not do anything. Entirely up to you.
Does everybody at the table understand crypto mining and data centers? Let's have some brief background on that.
Okay, I am not the expert by any means. Crypto, from what I understand, crypto mining is something where they develop something like coins. Crypto sucks a lot of energy, from what my research has, does not create jobs, and creates quite a bit of noise because you have to, they're computers, and you have to keep them cool. So the cooling fans do that, make a lot of noise and that sort of thing. Data centers are a little bit different. They house things like precision ag, like farmers use a lot of their GIS systems and stuff like that. So that's what these data centers do, or they're used for hospitals. I don't know a lot about what they do. They're a little bit less intensive when it comes to electrical usage. They do create jobs, and they're not as noisy as what a crypto mine would be. Now, that's about all I know. I am not a techie person, so I can't tell you a whole bunch more than that. So I know some people do not like crypto mines at all because they don't generate jobs, and they're noisy and they're intensive use. But I just threw it all out there, so.
I was at a meeting 2 years ago with a member of NPPD staff, a couple of county commissioners, a couple of city council folks, Judy, can't remember who else was at the table. Mayor was there.
Mm-hmm.
There was a significant amount of pushback on crypto mining and blockchain, because it consumes an enormous amount of power resource. There's no residual job benefit for the community, and these things are excessively noisy. One example of that was given to us at that meeting, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't remember if you were there at that meeting or not, Bill, but that basically they would take shipping containers and stack these things next to each other and load these things with computers and then put exhaust fans, and it just chews through power like it's free. and NPPD had significant concerns at that, expressed significant concerns at that meeting that the grid, the existing power supply source around our community and specifically Lincoln County was not geared up to handle this sort of thing. And so the feedback at that meeting was, we didn't want anything to do with it at that time. Now that's 2 years ago, and I don't know what's changed since then, but I would be very reluctant to permit this sort of thing in our community.
Do they have one in Nebraska?
Crypto mines? I'm sure they do. I'd have to go see where, but I am sure there is an existing.
Lincoln or Omaha, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, and aren't we kind of at a situation where our power grid is going to be, strained with sustainable beef? Did I hear that? Or I thought we talked about that at some point. Maybe not strained isn't the right word, but
From what I understand, I don't know that that's necessarily the case, but with any like ancillary types of industries that are looking at locating here, the Hershey Rail Park, for example, that's another one. There's a big concern as to whether there's sufficient power currently, and so to bring in more power, that's an NPPD issue, which they can certainly let you know what their position is on that, but it's a lot harder to be able to come in and request large sources of power from the grid as it stands right now. So I think in big development projects, it's certainly a major issue and maybe hurdle. So it just is how things stand right now. So, to everyone else's point, that's my understanding of the crypto mines as well, is that they suck a lot of power. So they're not bringing in a lot of benefit other than, I guess, their utility bills. That maybe gets a little bit harder to justify whether they're a benefit to the community or not.
So I did a quick World Wide Web search and pulled up an article from a Northeast Nebraska news channel. There's one of these things near Stanton, and it's generated a number of complaints from the local resident. So y'all can look up the article. It's on KTIV TV did the story on it from earlier this year. But according to Carnegie Mellon University, miners solve difficult math problems to create blocks, which are just groups of transactions. Once the miners solve the math problems first, the transaction inside those blocks are now cemented in time, verifying the transactions as valid. For their efforts, miners are awarded Bitcoin, which can be traded for US dollars and other currency. That's essentially the process that these large banks of computers are put to work on.
And they're not making coins. It's not like it's a factory stamping out coins.
Correct.
It is all digital, and they mine the streams of data, and they put the things together and all this kind of stuff, and it's all done without any human contact, interaction, or anything. It's all on computer.
Correct.
I think that Cheyenne has had some of that, and they're locating in there because it's cooler and the cooling requirements aren't as significant.
Yeah.
And I think Cheyenne's had a little bit of that.
And all I know about mining, what's it called? Crypto mining. I got from reading a book by C.J. Box, and and there was a murder conducted in one of those buildings, but it was way up on a mountainside, 25 miles from any development, and that's where they should be, as far away from people, a very remote place. And so, I'm not interested. I appreciate you bringing it before us, but I'm not interested in making it a permitted use or anything. The only thing I would say is crypto mining is an unacceptable use, would be the only kind of thing that I would say would be appropriate. The data center, there's people, those are jobs. They're just the call center only on computers and people, it's offices and computers and.
Well, and some of these sorts of things that, you know, you see some data centers in large communities from Google or Amazon or those types of things. And those, I have friends that work at an Amazon data center down in Phoenix, and they're great paying jobs. So I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that sort of thing,
Yeah.
but
That's completely different.
yes, it's 100% different than,
Right, right.
And so I think that the initial information and just move crypto to another classification, the data center thing, we probably should say, we'd welcome that under a permitted use or a conditional use.
I would agree with that.
I would too.
Bill, just legally from, I mean, can we as a community make a decision that that's not something we want to allow in our community? Or do we just have to make it really difficult for them to obtain a permit?
Certainly there are types of businesses that you can prevent from coming into your community. You know, I won't get into the exact types, but there are certain ones that I'm thinking of that you just say, we don't allow those here. So there are that types of things. So I think my initial reaction is that you could say that we just aren't going to allow these, but it may be a better approach to say they're allowed, but with severe restrictions. So that somebody looks at it and just says, well, we don't want to have to go through that process.
And have
as
very
opposed to saying-
super restrictive decibel limitations and
Well, even if you could solve that, the consumption of power would be, I mean, that was the first and foremost concern that these folks had when we were at that meeting. And so,
my thought is, you know, it may make my job a little bit easier rather than saying we're just flat out not going to allow them. Let's just say that, you know, we would allow them if they are consuming power under so much, whatever the limit would be. You know, you could throw in a provision like that. Then knowing that there aren't going to be any that are really going to meet that classification. Because then you don't have claims that, oh, you're discriminating against our type of company or something to that effect.
within the city within the city limits, I would think we could have a decibel regulation for that kind of a industry and a power consumption limitation.
Certainly restricted to say like industrial areas and, you know, different things like that too. So
if we just took, I think on page 2 of this, if we just eliminated section G out of conditional uses. Right here. And I1 light industrial, if we just took, she's got a proposed section, if we just struck that, does that take care of the problem temporarily until we figure out how to?
We could put it in a heavy industrial district as conditional use only. And that way it's one area that it can go and it has to go through a conditional use process. And that would be heavy industrial, which would be mostly on the outskirts of town is where our heavy industrial is. Plus then you're not close to,
Well, you'd still have to come up with some sort of restrictions
Yep.
on
And then
power
make-
consumption
And
and,
then make the restrictions so tight to where they couldn't run it with the restriction we have on the power usage.
right. Well, and that's the other thing too, you know, I guess
Back-
I'm just playing a little bit of devil's advocate
Right,
here, but imagine that there's some sort of major technological advance with crypto mining where they don't consume as much power, they aren't as
Right.
loud, and for some reason it becomes a benefit to the community.
Right.
It might make sense to have something, but you may still want to restrict them to a heavy industrial area because they aren't going to have people there, and you know they're just taking up space and
Using a lot of electricity.
using a lot of electricity. Or under my scenario, potentially not, but who knows?
Right.
Because the other nice thing about, you know, I like how Judy included it as a conditional use. You could always throw in, you know, like we mentioned before, like whether it's a decibel level or whatever it might be, if they come in and apply for a conditional use permit, if they're trying to go through the process, you could slap that on as a condition of them getting, of going in, is that they have to be under so many decibels. So that's why we like conditional uses too, is because you don't necessarily have to have all of it spelled out, but depending on the specific circumstances, you can come in and require whatever those things might be.
I know I talked to 2 council people today who are categorically opposed to these sorts of things in their current state.
Yeah, I would say as things stand right now, nobody wants a crypto mine coming
Right.
in.
So,
So it's more a matter of just, Judy's foresight and good long-term planning. Does it make sense to have something since we don't have anything? I like the idea of having something, and kind of we have flexibility with what that looks like.
well, I guess what I would ask of you two is come up with some sort of regulation that maybe they'll be able to meet sometime down the future if they become more efficient and less noisy.
Mhm.
But that in their
Okay.
current form,
They're not allowed.
well, I mean, that's just, black
I
and
mean,
white.
as a city, as a planning commission, we should be able to say if something's allowed or not. But at the same time, everything goes back to discrimination. So somebody could slap anything out there.
But there are certain things you can discriminate against too.
Sure.
So,
Well, yeah,
Right.
that's
Well,
why it all goes back to that, because there's always something that can be discriminated against.
I won't say the specific example I'm thinking of, but inappropriate type businesses, you can say
Thinking the
we're
same
not
thing.
gonna allow those. So,
Well-
there certainly are those types of things that you can restrict.
Unless or until I hear from somebody in a utility, either from Municipal Light and Water or NPPD that says, yeah, we can handle these things, line them up, then I mean, we should, my opinion is we should take a stance that we're not prepared for them as a city and a community and a county, and until we are, there's probably other places you can go build these
Well,
things.
And that's where under the design standards, Judy and I can talk some more and add some provisions in there that, it can't negatively impact the power grid, or, or with some consultation with NPPD, we can come up with some language as to, what, I know for a fact NPPD has specific guidelines you have to follow depending on the amount of power you intend to consume. And so we could say that they have to have the public power utility, they have to have approval from them, because there are a lot of projects right now that can't get that from NPPD because of
Right.
what they're requiring with, between payment of study costs and different things like that. It's very restrictive. And I would think for something like this, that in itself would probably kill the project.
Yeah, I would agree
Because
with you.
they're probably, any kind of crypto mining type company is probably looking for the cheapest place they can go to just, to David's comment, where they're slapping up shipping containers or doing whatever they can to cut their costs as much as possible.
And then you wind up with a situation like they're dealing with now in Stanton, Nebraska.
Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Bill, but, would we rather have the city's resources go to a pending lawsuit by not, or having some guidelines where we get to make decisions case by case? But I don't, like I said.
So are we okay with kind of what I wrote a little bit with data centers? We're kind of on board with that, and then I'll get with Bill and we'll see what we can come up with for crypto mining. And I'm not gonna promise you're gonna have anything back at the next meeting, but we might continue to discuss it at the next couple of meetings before going forward.
I like conditional use on that because it gives us some control over what it looks like and where it goes.
Okay. We will forge forward.
Any questions about that?
No, but I have a different topic on conditional use. I was approached regarding the Miller's project and why we didn't require a liquor license as a conditional use. And I think you, Bill, and Judy
So
talked about that.
I'm gonna say we're on to old business now and we're gonna
Okay.
deal with that
All
under
right,
old business.
sorry.
Yep, that's fine.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know you want to share that with what you told me or told Judy and Judy
Yeah,
relayed to me that,
Trying to remember now what I said.
So basically, so it was the event center, and someone asked Kurt about why did we not require them to get a liquor license. So typically, the city doesn't issue liquor licenses, the
right,
state.
and that's what I told.
Yeah, so
said,
liquor licenses come from the
It's
state.
not our,
By
not our, yeah,
by us, like by planning commission putting that as a condition, that would force them to be the person handing out the alcohol, which is maybe not what they want to do. Maybe they want the caterer to be responsible for that instead of, so that's kind of
Yeah. And
where
it
we
can
went
be,
with it.
you know, to me, that's not something for the city to dictate.
Exactly.
That's for the business owner to decide if it makes sense for them to apply for the license, if they'll even allow alcohol at their venue.
right.
If they let people bring it in, if they allow caterers to use their license with a special designated permit. So, you know, there's just so many different scenarios, and I don't like the idea of the city dictating.
Exactly.
What they do
And
there.
that's what I tried to tell him. And, oh, no, you can make that a conditional use. And I said, no, we don't dictate how a business.
No, because
can
then
run.
essentially what you're doing is saying you will sell liquor
Yes.
at that venue, and that may not be may very well not be part of their business plan.
So I had that question and I thought,
There you go.
Well, certainly you could put it as a condition, but I would never recommend it. I think it would be a bad idea.
bad idea.
Any other things under old business? One matter under new business would be our regular December meeting, which would currently come on Christmas Eve, which seems like a really bad idea. But we will have at least one agenda item that we need to deal with in December, and so we need to search for a more acceptable meeting time other than Christmas Eve.
Third Tuesday.
Third
City-
Tuesday would be the 17th, but that is also a council meeting.
Yeah, and I mean, we could do it that day, but we would have to do it either after the council meeting or prior to. Which
Come in at-
would
come in
make
at-
people get off work early.
Come in at 4:30 and knock it out on the 17th is possible if everybody wants to do that. Angela's shaking her head no. What about Monday the 16th or Monday the 23rd?
The 23rd doesn't really work.
Yeah, that's as bad as
What about
Christmas
the
Eve, really, but
16th?
That whole week's messed up. Let's do the 16th.
Monday the 16th. Well, then you're into New Year's. Some people are still traveling. Monday the 16th.
What about,
Doesn't work for me, but,
oh,
well, like 5:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One
And so
agenda
far,
item.
we've only got one agenda item, which is a subdivision, so it should be a 15-minute meeting.
Why are you looking at me?
5:30 is fine, actually. I think that should work.
16th.
Oh, wait.
Oh, wait.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I can do it.
6.
6. We only need 6 people.
do the
so,
16th.
okay.
Yes, 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 yes. Kathleen, I can be here.
Okay.
Sounds like we have a winner.
16th at
16th
5:30.
at 5:30. Any other new business to bring before the group at this point? If not, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Okay, boss, thank you.
Thank you all.